You're listening to Last Word Radio, where you get the last word.
Welcome to the Fourth Line Podcast, part of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATB. This is September the 10th, 2018. With you today is myself, Carl, and the always wonderful Joel. It was very nice this morning to wake up to actual real hockey news.
You woke up to it?
Did you stay up? How early did I go to bed? Is the real question at this point.
I don't know. What time, Wait, what news are we talking about?
I'm talking about the Pacioretty trade. What time did that thing happen at last night?
Did that happen last night?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was at 11 today.
Joel's had a rough day. If you're just figuring that out. There you go. Yeah, that happened last night.
Interesting.
Yeah, that happened at 11 o'clock Calgary time last night.
This is football and stuff.
I guess so. Yeah. You were probably still up at that point in time. If you had been with it enough to pay attention to what was happening in the sports world, you could have figured that out. But
pretty sure I was watching Big Brother.
Oh, priorities. But that's all right. You figured it out before we did a podcast today. Max Pacioretty, a name that I will never figure out how to spell, is a Vegas Golden Knight.
It's true. This is a first. We're just right into the news.
I mean, on September the 10th, 2018, there's not that much time. We need to get through all this hockey news. We've got a whole trade, 2 contracts to talk about, and a summer hot seat segment. I think 4 pieces of news is a lot.
I guess.
What's going on for you?
For some reason, my laptop is dying.
Well, that's not good.
No, I don't. It's I don't know why it's not plugged in. You talk about something. Why don't you talk about the fine folks over at ATB while I figure this out?
All right. Well, we're actually going to let you know about a very new and exciting thing happening with the Alberta Podcast Network. That is a podcast called Back to School Again. It's a podcast about people who made the decision in midlife to return to school. And I know, as someone, some would argue midlife, but as someone who has returned to school, this is a show that's near and dear to me. They're either returned to school to pursue a new type of career, or to add to their current career, or just the challenge of something new. It chronicles the personal journey of host Katrina Ingram, who is back in school after more than 2 decades away. Features conversations with a range of midlife learners who are currently enrolled in post-secondary. So, would you consider me a midlife learner, Joel?
No.
No?
Third life?
Okay. There you go. So I'm not there yet, but you can check out this show, Back to School Again. The podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to this show, it's there. Find out more at backtoschoolagain.ca. It's presented by Norquest College and is obviously part of the Alberta Podcast Network.
Sweet. I fixed my computer. We're good.
We're good? We can carry on with the show? Have you fixed your computer?
No, it keeps on. This is not good. We gotta hurry, man.
All right, so how long do we have to do? That's why we have to jump straight into the hockey shows.
We've got 54 minutes. We'll fix this, but let's just go and let's hope for the best.
So Patches, off to Vegas. What were your initial thoughts on this? What are your current thoughts? I don't care what your initial thoughts were. We didn't have time for both initial and current. What do you think right now?
What I think right now is, have you seen the picture of Marc Bergevin after the trade?
He's been, what he lacks in hockey ability, he does not lack in gym time.
Dude is ripped, man. Well, I'm assuming, it's not a shirt off picture, but man, the guy is this guy goes to the gym. He probably works out more than Patches.
Yeah. What's interesting is when you search Marc Bergevin on the Google, the first thing that currently pops up is a Yahoo Canada sports story with the title, What We Learned About Marc Bergevin. And what we did learn was that he's ripped. What they think we've learned is that they can fire him.
Because now they traded him? Or Pacioretty?
I don't think you wait until like, well, look at that trade that guy made. Let's fire him for that. That seems like a bad idea.
You shouldn't let people trade if you're planning on firing them.
If you're at the point where you're like one more bad move and you're gone,
just do it.
Maybe, or just like as the owner of the team or as the president of the team, just you have veto power to say like every move you make goes through me.
Okay, if that's at the point you're at with your GM, get a new GM.
That's also an option, for sure.
That's the option. It's not also an option. It's the only option. Yeah, but man, he could probably... Did Bergevin ever play hockey? I don't know. Was he a hockey player?
Yeah, not as high. I'm sure at some point he did.
He should probably play now.
Yeah. He was drafted 59th overall by the Blackhawks.
Interesting. How did he do? What was his career? Okay.
Oh yeah, Marc Bergevin played forever. Yeah, Marc Bergevin had a lengthy career.
Is he a better GM or a better player? Here are his stats. He played 1,100. He basically played 1,200 games in the NHL. He scored 36 goals.
Okay.
This is gonna be an interesting debate. 181 points. He had almost as many penalty minutes as he did NHL games at 1,100 penalty minutes.
Okay.
And he had 9 playoff points.
I feel like if you were to look at a career and say, you know, there are, according to Wikipedia, there are 321 players in the NHL's history who have played in at least 1,000 games. So from like a longevity point of view, that's good. I would say that Marc Bergevin is a better player than he is general manager.
Dude, this guy played in 2004.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That I did not. Yeah,
my mind is blown right now, guys. Yeah. This is incredible, dude. This guy. He was on the Canucks team that lost to Marty Gell and his Flames in like the 03-04 Cup run.
Yeah, that was where he didn't get any of his 9 career playoff points in that run.
He played in 3 playoff games.
Yeah.
Dude, how old is this guy? I thought he was like 80-something.
He's 53.
Dude looking good, man. This guy, he should play. If he's a better player than... So, apparently, this is how we feel about the trade, though.
that we're spending all of our patches time on Bergevin and his illustrious career. Yeah, the trade, Montreal...
This guy get drafted. He scored his career high in the Q was 45 points.
Yeah.
45 points.
But like as a defenseman.
Oh, he's a defenseman? This changes everything. What's his Corsi?
I don't think Marc Bergevin's so old that Corsi didn't exist.
Oh, this completely changes. The point totals make so much more sense. It's like, how is this guy still playing? He scored like 3 goals his entire career.
Yeah. Now you know.
He played for so many teams. I didn't know about this. I had no idea about him. This is interesting. I'm very interested.
And yet, still allowed to make trades in Montreal. Montreal did a terrible job handling this entire situation. I look at this, so here's a situation that I use the Avalanche with Duchesne as like, that's the best you could hope for when your player essentially demands a trade. It's a fit that doesn't work. He's going to be leaving. and you have to move him. Granted, Duchesne had one extra year on his deal, but that's like the best situation. Montreal waited, thinking maybe we'll be good. Maybe if we give people less time to have Pacioretty on their team, they'll be willing to give us more. That said, didn't happen, and then they ended up with, I think a lot of people, if you were to say for Pacioretty, you would get a roster player, a prospect, and a pick, which is what they got. Like that's what some people banty about is like, that's the cost for Erik Karlsson. That's not the cost for Erik Karlsson. And this is not something to get super excited about. It's solid. They have Tatar for a few more years. Nick Suzuki could be all right, and the second round pick is what it is. So
it's not terrible. Like, it's kind of what, like, is Tatar, like, can he be? You gotta hope he's better than what he was with the Vegas Golden Knights, right?
You have to assume that sample size plays into that, and that that's not who he is. You assume that he is what he was when he was with the Red Wings.
I think I like this more. Like, I think I like for the Vegas Knights better.
Oh, definitely, yeah. This is a move that the Knights win. They get another piece up front that adds some more scoring, more than what Tatar was going to give them for sure. And
I think they recovered from their Tatar thing a little bit. Like, they salvaged that trade a little bit.
Yeah, if you were to look at it as like total pieces in and out, it looks bad.
How many pieces? What did they trade for Tatar again?
So Tatar was traded for, did they put that on? Yeah, Tatar was traded for a first, a second, and a third.
So it'd be a first, 2 seconds, a third, and Suzuki, and now they have
Suzuki, who's a first. So essentially, like, 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and a third for 1 season of Pacioretty.
Was Suzuki? Well, it's not 1 season. They knew they were going to sign him to an extension. That had to be talked about.
Yeah, but you still, like,
it came so quickly. Like, it may have even been done. Like, the extension may have been done before the deal.
Yes, Suzuki was drafted 13th overall.
By the Knights.
By the Knights, yeah.
That's their first draft pick. Traded already.
No, that was a pick. I don't know how they got that pick, but that was not.
Oh, that wasn't their first one?
I think that is the pick that they... that somehow, I believe, is the pick that they were given to take... No. Yeah, that was the pick from Winnipeg. I don't know who that they were given. Winnipeg gave them... They told them to pick Chris Thorburn. That worked out well for Winnipeg. It's not like Columbus that were like, here, take William Karlsson, and we'll give you a first-round pick too. So that was Winnipeg's first to pick someone that they wanted.
All of this is meaningless because, like, once a trade's made, you can't really think about it this way, but I kind of find it interesting, like, the tree of where all these pieces come.
Yeah, you can't look at it and say, like, this is... It's not that, right? Like, it's not... They didn't trade a first. They traded Nick Suzuki.
Yeah.
But the trade tree is interesting to see that, Chris Thorburn now in the Max Pacioretty trade tree.
Pacioretty, like, the Knights got to hope he rebounds to the 30-goal scorer that he had been the previous however many years.
4 seasons in a row with at least 30 goals.
So, like,
I would look at that and say, I believe 4 seasons in a row more than I believe 1.
Right. And he's not super old, right?
No,
30.
29. I guess
yeah.
30 by the end of this season, yeah.
Yeah, so, like, that'll be... it'll be good. He'll probably do well there. Vegas, like, replaces James Neal?
Yeah, replaces James Neal for sure. And without giving, like, they can essentially use, like, Tatar and Patches can fill similar roles for these teams. So, yeah, I'm all right with that.
Yeah, it's kind of whatever. It's like Montreal salvage. Like, they probably got, that's about the most you would have gotten for him at this point because everyone knew. Yeah. It was just so, but...
Well, especially, did you see if he hadn't been traded, we probably would have been talking about his comments at one of the golf tournaments in town. he was not beating around the bush at all about his thoughts and feelings about still being with this team.
Just sounds like a wonderful place to play right now in Montreal.
Yeah. It's just a great experience for all involved.
I think so.
Well, maybe let's all just hit the gym with Bergevin, have a good time, and then see what happens. Patches did sign a 4-year, $7 million per extension immediately with the Vegas Golden Knights. And, that's about right. It's short, so that saves that, and I think that, obviously, that's what bumps up the value a little bit. A guy who's going to become a free agent next season. I'm fine with $4 million. Or 4 years for $7 million.
Yeah, so he's signed for 5. What's his hit now? It's less than that, right?
Yeah, it's 4.5 right now, which is a great hit.
So 4.28, 5 for 32 is what you get him for. You take that
for a guy who typically scores 30 goals. Yeah,
I like it a whole lot better than the other big deal that was signed this past week.
Shall we get into that one?
Yeah, probably. It's a good deal. He's going to be 33 when the deal is done.
Yeah.
Chances are, you're not. That's when he's going to start to decline, and that's when you don't want to be paying him $7 million anymore.
Well, the other deal signed this year starts when Mr. Blake Wheeler is the aforementioned age of 33. He signed a 5-year deal worth $8.25 million. You don't like that one?
I love it. As a non-Winnipeg Jets fan, it's a great deal.
Yeah, you're very okay not having to pay him that? Yeah. I know your reasons, but the listeners don't. Tell us why.
He's 33 when this deal starts. You don't want to be paying guys that much money when they're getting old, and they're not he's not showing that he's elite. What's the cap hit? What's
8.25.
8.25. Let me just pull something up here. I believe he is slightly less than Mr. Steven Stamkos. You're almost paying him as much as Stamkos is making.
Yeah, so he's clocking in at 8.25 is 10.38% of cap hit. Stamkos is coming in at you don't spell Stamkos with a D, that's for sure. Stamkos' contract when his started was 11.64, so it's a percentage point lower. So yeah, it's comparable.
But so the other thing is Wheeler's a good hockey player. Not saying he's not a good hockey player. So before anyone freaks out about that, I'm not saying he's bad. He is not as good as he was this past year, though. He had a career year. This past year is his best season ever. It will be. There is no question. He's not getting better.
Okay, here is where Blake Wheeler has finished in season points for the last few seasons. This season, he finished 9th in NHL points. 2 years ago, he finished 11th in points. In 2015-16, 3 years ago, he finished 6th in points. The season before that, Blake Wheeler was not in the top 20. So in the last 3 seasons, he has been 6th, 9th, and 11th. I fail to see why. Sure, does he have the flash of the other guys in that list? You look at the guys surrounding him in that list, and for the first season, you're like, yeah, Kane, Ben, Crosby, Carlson, Thornton, Pavelski, Goudreau. That's a list of guys who I would, in a vacuum, would be like, yeah, Blake Wheeler, probably that's not Blake Wheeler. But you do it 3 years in a row, and I start to believe in you.
You can start to believe in him. I never said he was a great player, but you're going to tell me 91 points isn't his career best. That's what I said. Okay, I'm not arguing anything else. I said 91 points is his career best. Yes or no, he beats that.
No. Blake Wheeler will not beat 91 points.
So then I don't know what you're saying. I'm not saying he's not going to score points. I'm saying you just signed him at his high, and you didn't need to. He had another year on his contract. It's stupid. This is a foolish, stupid contract.
So you would have waited, sign him next year, see what he does this year. How does this contract change between now and next year?
It doesn't. Like if you want to pay,
if it's not going to change, then why wait? If it's going to be the exact same,
what if he gets injured? Then you don't have to pay him as much. What if he has a down year? You don't have to pay him as much.
What if he scores 91 points again?
You're going to pay him the same. He's not making more than what he got. In what world does Blake Wheeler at 33 make more than he got?
In a world where Blake Wheeler has now done it 4 years in a row, is coming off of this. You look at the comparables. If you're looking at Blake Wheeler as a guy in the realm of Anze Kopitar making more than him, Taylor Hall gonna make more than him, Kucherov more, McDavid more. Like if you're comparing him to the guys on this list around him and saying, hey, these are the points that the guys that I put up the same amount of production as are getting paid. He's getting paid less than all those guys that are signing deals right now.
Yeah, and I would. You're right. You should compare him to McDavid. That is like 100% a comparable right there.
No,
don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
Kopitar's deal is awful too.
And he's making $1.5 million less than Kopitar is.
Just because he's making less than someone doesn't make it good. You could make that that's not a good argument. Saying, well, Kopitar's also making too much money, so just because Wheeler's making too much money, it's good now. No, they can both be bad.
They can both be bad, but I don't think that this Blake Wheeler deal, could it be better? Yes. But I don't think it's as bad as you're making it out to be.
It's unnecessary is the biggest thing. Who cares? Play out the year. No one is lining up to pay Blake Wheeler $8.5 over the next 5 years after this season. No one is lining up to do that.
Someone would have.
Yeah, but no one was going to pay him. You think someone's going to come and pay him 9, 10?
I 100% think so. If you have a team,
33,
you have a lot of teams with a lot of cap space that are handing out
crazy. 33, he's so old. This is going to be
Joel. I know
he's going to be bought out.
I know a team that handed out a contract to 36-year-old Patrick Marleau to make $2 million a year less
for not
than
5
Blake
years.
Wheeler.
Not 5 years.
The contract's going to be the exact same age when it finishes,
but
less. Marlowe's going to be 39 when this deal ends.
Yeah, but has Marleau was continuing to produce. They had to give Marleau the deal. He was a UFA. They couldn't not give him the deal. I'm not saying don't sign him to it. I'm saying why did you need to do it now?
Fine. I'm just saying that I don't think anything changes if you give it to him now or you give it to him next year. Because you look at the fact that guys like Marleau, who are not putting up numbers anywhere near what Blake Wheeler is, are getting deals only $2 million less to be older when the deal ends. Like I'd rather give Blake Wheeler 8.25 for 5 years, a year out than I would Patrick Marleau 6.25.
So, we're obviously not going to agree on this, and I'm not going to there are guys on both sides of this argument all over the place. I do know the fancy stats guys out there, some of them at least, definitely agree with me. It's not going to look great. But
certainly, if you look at it as a cap hit of 8.25, I don't think anyone would say 38-year-old Blake Wheeler should be, on a 1-year deal, he wouldn't be getting 8.25. But I think right now, he's going to be worth more than that. So I'm okay with this deal. Could it be better? Yeah, but it's not terrible. And I don't think it's as terrible as some.
In 2 years' time, in 2 or 3 years' time, you're going to be looking back at this and they're going to wish they didn't have this contract on. 35-year-old Blake Wheeler is not going to be good.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that. Because Blake Wheeler, if you look at, I know the fancy stat, some of the fancy stat reasons. And part of it is the fact that NHL players peak at like 27, if not younger, right? You look at age curves, Blake Wheeler has defied every age curve up to this point. So I'm not one to look at it and say, in the same way that like for so many years Joe Thornton was one, right? Like I don't look at this and assume the same regression for age. Blake Wheeler has been healthy. He has missed 2, 5, 6 games in the last 6 seasons. If you include the other, he has missed 8 games in his NHL career. Like, he is a healthy individual. Blake Wheeler is not one that's going to have injury problems that are lingering. 8 games he has missed.
You hope he doesn't.
There's nothing that's shown up until this point that Blake Wheeler has anything. Like, if there's something that's like, oh, this injury is going to make me not want to sign him to a deal, he probably would have missed more than 8 games.
So this is my last question on it. If you can sign him, so whatever day he signed this, last Wednesday, whatever it was, would you like to sign him for a 5-year extension last Wednesday or June 20th next year? Exact same contract. When would you like to sign him to it?
Well, if I can guarantee that it's the exact same contract, then obviously it doesn't matter. If it's going to be the exact same deal. But if I'm looking at it next year and I've told Blake, you know what, like I want to see what you do this year. I want to do that. This is a guy that I want to keep on my team. And if what it takes is signing him now and not letting him look at other teams who are going to pay him as much or more than I'm willing to, yeah. I sign him now. I don't think there's any problem with that.
It's so unnecessary. If he gets like, I love like it doesn't matter. Like you can say all you want that he doesn't have like any injury problems. All it takes is one bad shift, one bad hit, and all of a sudden he's injury prone. Like any player, it can be injury prone in a split second. So as a team, why would you take that risk?
Okay, so let me flip the question around then. And I know it's different
because you're about to compare a 20-year-old with a 33-year-old. I'm fairly certain that's what you're about to do, which is 100% different.
It is different, but if injury is injury, like would you, if any player, why would you sign any player earlier than you need to then? If that's your reasoning, that someone could get hurt, why would you ever sign him before you need to?
Do 33-year-olds get hurt more frequently than 20-year-olds? Do 20-year-olds recover from injuries quicker than 33-year-olds?
I don't know. Whatever injury Blake Wheeler's had, he's recovered from them pretty fast.
Yeah. Talk to any old person. They will always say the older you get, the longer it takes to recover. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I just don't get why they needed to do it. It's completely unnecessary.
So you're okay signing a 20-year-old a year early and not okay signing a 33-year-old a year early?
Yeah, and I'm totally also okay signing a generational player a year earlier than I am a really good hockey player a year earlier.
Right.
It's completely different, and you know it's completely different. It's like saying you're not going to sign. Okay, you have the chance to sign Connor McDavid. Would you like to sign him early? No, let's wait. He's only the best player ever. Like you're talking completely different.
Okay, let's look at this from a different angle then. A player that's not a generational, the good talent, a guy who's been talking contracts and says nothing's happened yet, but still wants to sign before the season. Tyler Seguin. Would you rather sign Tyler Seguin in the next week or June 20th next year?
See, I would sign, if he wants to sign a contract in the next week, I would do it. The difference being, people are going to line up to sign Tyler Seguin. No one is lining up to sign Blake Wheeler for 5 years, $9 million at 33 years old. Age definitely matters. If you think that age doesn't matter, that's crazy. And
that's why Tyler Seguin's going to get 7 or 8 years and Blake Wheeler only got 5. Yeah,
but 7 or 8 still puts him at the same age. Like, it's just, like, Actually, it might even put him younger. How old is Tyler Seguin?
He will be 27 at the end of the season. Blake Wheeler, 33.
So he's going to be the same age as Wheeler when his deal's done.
Yeah, well, that's so you're okay. At what age then? So we know 26, you're okay
30.
signing a guy. 30 is when you're not okay signing a guy. Patches, He signed a year earlier than he has to. Are you okay with that today?
I'm more okay with that than I am. Like, age matters. I don't get how you don't think age matters. It's mind-boggling to me.
No, I'm well aware of the fact that age matters.
Oh, it doesn't seem like it.
Well, there's a lot of things in this contract that occurred that led to age mattering, but I don't think that. I think that being able to have 100% negotiation rights, to not have anyone be able to have any say into the matter, to not have him wanting to leave. If you want Blake Wheeler to still be on your team, which the Winnipeg Jets do, I am very okay signing him right now to keep him around.
It's a risk, though. You're taking a bigger risk.
You are, but if you wait till next year, you're taking a bigger risk that he will leave. So are you willing to take a risk on a contract, or are you willing to take a risk on him walking out the door? The Winnipeg Jets do not have a Blake Wheeler waiting to fill this spot on their roster.
I'm willing to risk him leaving because, again, no one is lining up to sign him to $9 million. He said he wanted to stay. There's lots of guys who sign extensions after the season before they hit free agency. It's not new that someone would do that. Steven Stamkos did that. So this is not a new thing that he would still stay there. No one's lining up to do that. It's not as big of a risk. I think you're actually, by waiting, you're probably going to be able to sign him to less because he's not going to score 91 points.
Again, there's a lot of things that can happen in a season, right? He could get hurt. He could put up 92 points. The possibilities are out there, but I am very okay, and would be, if I'm a Winnipeg Jets fan, I am happy that Blake Wheeler is sticking around.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how happy they are when what's his name, the defenseman's gone. That'll be
Dustin.
No,
Tyler Myers.
Trouba.
Oh,
because that's going to be a problem now. Because, they are as good. Like, the Winnipeg Jets are a great team. Great teams have cap problems. So,
true. Yeah, some of their cap problems will be resolved to a degree. Most of this team's actually locked down at this point now, right? Scheifele's locked down. Ehlers is locked down. Blake Wheeler, Brian Little somehow locked down. It's Laine and Trouba, and then some of your other pieces on defense. But there's a lot of moving pieces that you're okay if Byfuglien has 3 more years left. He'll be 36 at the end of that. That's not a deal that you need to keep going. This is an interesting, if they can figure out what to do on the defense, if they can actually keep it so that Trouba wants to stay, which has been a problem. This team can still manage it.
Yeah, Wheeler's not entirely buyout proof either. I was just looking at that.
Well, what's interesting with his deal, all these contracts, Tavares being object number 1, no signing bonus in the Blake Wheeler deal.
Yeah, so his last year is the full cap hit. So they would they'd take a 2.5 cap hit for a couple years after, but they'd only take a 2.5 during the last year, last 2 maybe. No, though, depending on when. But
yeah,
it's not entirely buyout proof.
No.
And they hope they win their cup before he's 38, because that's not going to look good at 38.
Well, in those 2 years where the actual amount drops are post-lockout. So who knows what kind of a contract world we'll be living in after that. CBA expires in 21-22, where he gets $10 million. So he'll be get a nice paycheck to stay home the next season. The Winnipeg Jets were not the team that won our summer hot seat. they got plenty of time anyways. When we put the poll, we did not know Blake Wheeler would be winning or signing. I guess that he probably considers this winning. The team that did win, the Vancouver Canucks, Joel, they are the final team on our summer hot seat segment. You, a former Vancouverite, this is going to be your first season outside of British Columbia. I know when you said you moved, you miss good quality sports talk. Calgary's lacking the good sports talk a lot of times. Do you miss hearing about the Vancouver Canucks?
Not really. No. I a little bit because it's funny.
Like the call-in segments?
Yeah.
Those
Well,
are good.
just and like how like Louis Erickson, like that's funny. Like it's a little depressing, but it's also funny. This team's a mess.
This team is all over the map. There's some things to be very excited about with the Vancouver Canucks, and obviously a lot of them are excited about Elias Pettersson, especially with, the rookie tournaments happening right now. Lots of teams, everyone's hopeful, right? This is the time of the year that everyone has hope.
Yeah. I don't I think you're excited for 2 years from now, 3 years from now, hopefully. That Pettersson's guy is going to be good. It's a good hockey player.
Yeah, that'll be a nice little thing for them. Especially, pair him, bring Dahlin, see if he can be a nice line mate for him there. It's not the worst thing.
Yeah, Olli Juolevi, if he can figure out, I don't know, it seems like we've been talking about Juolevi for a few years now as a prospect, but still got him. Then you got, I don't know, they still love Demko down there. You got Bo Horvat. What's that other guy? Brock Besser. I just love me some Brock Besser.
Yeah. So is Demko, 22-year-old goalie, that's the guy for them? That's who they're putting all their hope in?
I think so. 22 for a goalie's not that old, as a prospect.
No.
The goalies come up later, so he's still very much as a young prospect as a goalie. So there's that. Yeah, I don't know. You got a lot of young guys. Then you go inside and Jay Beagle and Anton Roussel, and you're just like, why? Why are you doing this?
Why are these the choices you make?
Yeah.
And one thing could be, it's, I know in some sports, and maybe if we have some time, we'll get into this. Shockingly, we spent a lot more time on Blake Wheeler than we were planning on.
We got fired up.
Yeah. The one thing that this helps you to do, when you have a team full of young players that you want to keep, signing an Antoine Roussel, a Jay Beagle, Sam Gagner, Derek Dorr, when you have these guys, it really helps you fudge the numbers when it comes to service time. And I'm not saying that's what the Canucks are doing, but that's how I would sleep at night if I was a Canucks fan looking at these signings.
Is so that because those guys are going to stay in the AHL because you have all these guys that are borderline NHLers on longer term deals. Is that what they're saying?
You're like, well, I don't want to lose this guy on waivers. I don't want to lose Jay Beagle or Antoine Roussel on waivers. I can't send him down.
So we got to keep Pettersson in the minors.
Yeah. I don't want to lose Anders Nilsson. We got to leave Demko down there. Actually, looking it up, had a .922 save percentage in the A last year. Pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, I think he's actually a legit goalie prospect. I don't know how. They also have DiPietro, so that's a thing. An other DiPietro. Is he related? I don't know. Michael DiPietro.
Not Rick.
No, he is Canadian.
Ooh.
So I
guess that.
I would have guessed American because wasn't Rick DiPietro from the US of A?
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Okay, so let's get to what we really want to talk about. Is Jim Benning better or worse than Marc Bergevin?
I would, at this point in time, I would rather Jim Benning be the general manager of my organization than Marc Bergevin.
Would you want either of them?
No. Like, if not, without knowing who's gonna, I guess, like, without knowing who's gonna be replaced. Like, if they were like, Carl, you can have Jim Benning or random general manager in box number 2, I'd probably take Jim Benning, because who knows what's in box number 2. But here's the fact is that, with this year, because with Trevor Linden gone, this is like the start of a new round. And I felt like a lot of the disaster that happened was, similar to Colorado when Patrick Waugh and Joe Sakic were like butting heads on on player moves that they should make. I feel like that was a little bit of what was happening here, that Trevor Linden had probably more say than Jim Benning would have. And so this is the year that I think, I'll use this as my judge of, all right, this is the Jim Benning, the general manager, able to do what he wants. And we'll see what that happens, because Benning has made non-terrible moves in the past. When he first was there, some of his trades were questionable. He made some actual solid moves that I was like, that's not laughable. Like, that's an actual move that you should have done.
All right, we're gonna play a game. All right, here, let's play a quick little game. Rapid fire. You got to be quick on this.
Okay, rapid.
Not thinking. All right, Jim Benning or Marc Bergevin?
Jim Benning.
Okay, Jim Benning or Brad Treliving?
Treliving.
Treliving or Chiarelli?
Treliving.
Treliving or, I don't even know how to say this guy's name, the Winnipeg Jets guy, Cheveldayoff.
Yeah. Cheveldayoff.
Cheveldayoff. Or, I can't find it.
You pronounced his name so terrible that I couldn't even think of how to say it. I was like, how do you say that name?
Pierre Dorian.
Oh, not Pierre Dorian.
Cheveldayoff or Kyle Dubas?
Dubas.
Okay, now to non-Canadian teams. Dubas or Bob Murray?
Dubas, yeah.
Dubas or Chekia? How do you say that guy's name? Chekia?
Cheka? Yeah. I don't know. Well, the thing, like, Dubas is so tough because, like, he hasn't done a whole lot. Like, it's hard to know what he has and hasn't done.
He's signed John Tavares, and we don't know what. We sort of know some of the pieces that were his in Toronto, but we don't fully know.
Yeah,
but,
and like the Tavares thing was a team effort.
I'm pretty sure, like, just we're going to get to some guys that you're going to rather over Dubas. It's not the Coyotes guy. Let me tell you that.
Okay, right. I am aware. That guy's very good at trading for players to shove on his IR. If I was looking to fill my long-term IR, I would want him. Otherwise...
Okay. Dubas or Don Sweeney?
Don Sweeney.
Sweeney or Botterill?
Is he with the Sabres now?
Yeah.
No, Sweeney.
Sweeney or Carolina Hurricanes Don Waddle?
Sweeney.
Sweeney or Stan Bowman?
Bowman extended that team's window by a long time. Bowman.
Bowman or Sakic?
Got a lot for Matt Duchene. He hasn't won a cup, so I'm going to go with Bowman.
Bowman or Keklian? How do you say that guy's name? Keklian.
I don't know. What team is he with?
Blue Jackets. Oh. He's been there since 2013.
Yeah, I would probably... I like some of what he's done. Sure, I'll go with him.
Keklian or Nell? Dallas Stars. 2013 was when he was there. Come on, let's get it going.
Columbus
or Dale Talon?
Columbus.
Blake.
Rob Blake?
Yeah, he's the
No, I will go with Columbus.
Paul Fenton of the Minnesota Wild, hired on May 21st, so very new as well.
Not him.
David Poilier?
David Poile is who I will be taking over him, yes.
Poile, Ray Shero, New Jersey
Poile.
Devils. Lamoriello.
Poile.
Gordon of the New York Rangers.
Poile.
Ron Hextall.
Poile.
Jim Rutherford of the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Poile.
Doug Wilson.
Poile.
Doug Armstrong.
Poile.
George McPhee.
Poile.
Brian McLean.
Poile.
Steven Yzerman.
Poile.
There you go. That's who, according to Carl Landra of the Fourth Line Podcast, believes the Nashville Predators have the best general manager in the NHL, who has been the general manager since, do you know when?
Since they started, was he not the guy?
1997.
Yeah. It's been a while. David Poile.
No.
No?
Yes.
Yes.
Ken Holland has also, funnily enough, been the GM since 1997.
Oh.
Seems like a long time for Ken Holland.
One of those will be will still be with their team soon. One of them will not.
2 longest tenured GMs in the game.
Yeah.
Anyways, I thought that was interesting. That was a fun little summer game there for you.
Just a nice summer game. If you had just told me, like, who do you think's the best general manager, I probably would have picked Poile. There were some choices that were harder than that, though.
I'm actually surprised Dubas made it as far as he did.
I'm surprised that we didn't play the game of which general manager is the worst.
You want to play that game? No.
It's Pierre Dorian.
Yeah, I was going to say. I was like, I don't think that's hard, is it?
But it would have been, you would have had me pick between, I was surprised. I thought you were just going to play, like, which Canadian general manager is the best and the worst.
That's where I start.
And I was surprised. I was expecting to have to pick between Chiarelli and Jim Benning, and that would have been a hard choice. I think I probably would have gone with Jim Benning.
I think so, too. So that's where I would go. Quickly wrap up. Vancouver Canucks will not make the playoffs, correct?
Correct. Yeah, there's a lot of things to be excited for the future. Their current goaltending is not one of them.
And this year, probably not one of them. It's going to be a year. It's going to be, you're going to have to watch Brandon Sutter.
Yeah. See, that was one of those mistake Jim Benning moves.
Is he healthy? I don't know.
Doesn't, like, do we care? Like, he played 61 games last year.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Healthy Brandon Sutter, like, it's still Brandon Sutter.
Yeah, but at least he's playing and not playing.
It's true. It's better to pay someone $4 million to play than to stay at home.
And he's like an NHLer too.
Yes, yeah, like he should be on a roster. But if you were to tell me Brandon Sutter gets cut and his contract gets nullified, there was some sort of shenanigans, which is more likely for you? Brandon Sutter signs what's left on his deal, so he has 3 years, 4.375, so 3 years at 4.4 essentially, or he signs a PTO. Which one is more likely?
PTO, not close.
Right, exactly.
He probably doesn't. He probably gets like a 1 year, $2 million deal though. Like that's what he would get, I think.
Yeah.
But it's more likely he gets a PTO than. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. So Vancouver Canucks, is going to be a rough season. Luckily, there's some other very bad teams in that division. Like that, the Pacific Division. We'll get into our playoff our season previews next week. Probably looking at some of that, but
you want to know some sad news for New York Jets fans?
They're fans of the New York Jets.
Well, apparently, so it gets the game started, which makes sense.
Okay.
According to the Twitters, I don't know if this is true, cannot verify, but apparently his first career snap was a pick six.
For Sam, what's his name?
Darnold.
Well, that's not good.
That's rough.
Was it, I don't know, there's like a goalie's first shot being a goal.
That's worse than a goalie's first. Like the goalie's first shot being a goal is like a quarterback's first throw is an interception. Like,
so would that be comparable to a goalie's first shot being like a dump in from center,
or like your first 3 shots is a goal or something like that? It's worse than just one shot, one goal.
No, I feel like 3 shots, no saves. You're getting pulled the next one.
So if he throws another pick six.
If he throws another pick six, because then like how many pick sixes in a row do you have to throw before you're pulled from the game?
2.
Before you're benched.
I'm a coach, 2.
So 2 passes, yeah. How many goals in a row do you think you need to let in before you get pulled?
It also depends on who you are. Like if you're like, I don't know.
Like if you're Thatcher. If you're Thatcher Demko coming in for the Canucks in 2019-2020.
Oh, if you let him 3 goals, no saves, I'm pulling you for sure.
In your first game ever.
Yeah. Done. But like, if you're like, I'm trying to think of like a long-standing like NFL, like Phil Rivers throws 3 pick sixes in a row. Is he getting pulled right away this year?
No.
Yeah. So it really does depend on who you are.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's an interesting note. That's rough, hey? Like, I don't know, as like a 22-year-old comes in, first career play. This is the first time you're ever playing in the NFL, like a real game.
The day you've dreamed for your entire life.
You throw pick 6.
Yeah.
That's rough.
I hope I'm not playing the Giants or the Lions D in fantasy. That's what I hope.
Who would have the Lions D? Are they good? I don't know. All I remember is that they were like 0-16 one year.
Yeah, I don't have them. I know that much. So we're getting to the start of the season. Obviously, we mentioned last week coming up on our 200th episode of the Fourth Line. We have some new swag for this year. So we're sending out, some goodies to folks coming up here. Obviously, we mentioned, heading out to Graham for his selection of the name of the blank line. Do you want to tease out some of what we have coming up for this season?
Some of our new merch.
Some of our new merch, yeah.
Oh, we have new merch. We have swag. It's not really swag. Don't wear it.
No, don't do that. So this is something this will be the first time, the first people who are going to be getting these, and it has taken quite some time to get the items in. We are as anxiously awaiting them as you have been. We mentioned to our Patreon supporters back when Patreon was a thing that we did, that they would be getting our first round of swag when that came in. So once those are done, we'll be sending those out to them. But we have coasters, Joel.
We have coasters, wooden coasters,
yeah,
with our logo engraved in them, and they're pretty sweet. I really like them.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of these. And so that's one of the options. So when you win this year, we've got coasters, we've got pucks, which I'm also a big fan of these, and we've still got some of the mini sticks kicking around as well. So when you win a prize, if we're doing high sticking, ooh, that's a thing. Did we mention that on the show? Do we want to save that for next week?
Save that for next week.
All right. High sticking, we've decided on the new high sticking rules. Things have changed. Not a lot, but a lot. So if you win high sticking, and you like, what do I want? Do I want a coaster? Do I want a puck? Do I want a mini stick? If you've won one of those before, pick something else. If you haven't, no one's won a coaster yet. Literally, the only coasters that we have are sitting right on my desk. So
it's true. Do we still have to do something to them?
Yeah, we've got to put a little finishing touches on them, and that's part of what the hold up has been is getting them finished up. They'll be out and ready for the start of hockey season. So the first prizes, nothing this week. Maybe next week we'll try to play some sort of a game or something. Who knows what next week will come? But when we play games, we say send things in. That's one of the things you could be winning is a Fourth Line podcast coaster. So stay tuned for how you can get your hands on one of those. the Alberta Podcast Network, sponsored by ATB. They are the official bank of the Fourth Line Podcast, and a great place for you to go if you want to support a bank that supports your community. That is a thing that they do. They are big into hockey. They support hockey all the way from hockey that your kids are going to play all the way to the Calgary Flames. If you head to any of the stadiums that will be there. And so do that. Head over to atb.com/listens. atb.com is the place for you to go find out about our favorite bank. Next week, coming in, episode 197, getting real close. Probably do some previews, start talking about some season, what we're looking at. Hot seat's done. No more polls for that. It's almost here, Joel. It's almost here.
Should we do... Oh, no. I have an idea for the 200th. I don't want to say, though. I have a good idea.
Okay. Let's not forget about it, though.
I won't.
There's ideas we've forgotten this summer, so let's mention it off the air as soon as we finish. Why is William Nylander trending on Twitter?
Dude, did he sign?
That's what I'm finding out.
Oh, we need to, because we're done, right? Like, we shouldn't finish.
Yeah, we're done. Like, at this point, we're just waiting for a Boom City, I think.
Okay.
While Joel Googles, I'll tell you all the things. fourthlinepodcast.com. We have our division previews. Fun thing we're doing this year, just to give us a bit of a challenge. We're saying we're going to write our previews for each team with the same amount of words that they finished with points in the standings last year. It's just a little tweak on that. Head to the fourthlinepodcast.com. We're doing it as a team. If you're saying, hey, you know what? I want to write. I've never written a thing. Or you have written and you want to get back into it, hit us up, send us a DM, send us an email, mail at thefourthlinepodcast.com. We'd love to hear from you. If you want to be a part of that project that we're doing. What's happening with Willie?
Nothing. He just has not been showing up to team activities.
Oh.
Because he doesn't have a contract.
Yeah, that's not surprising at all.
No.
Don't fool me like that, Twitter. Don't fool me like that. All right, well, until next week.
Boom City.